Hi everyone. So we've spoken about the events of Har Sinai twice, both in Parshat Yitro and Parshat Mishpatim, but now in Parshat Tisa we get to see them a third time, but this time from Moshe's perspective. And if we really look at the Parsha holistically and we see Moshe's journey throughout this Parsha, it's a bit tragic. Moshe starts out this Parsha as a typical leader. He's helping raise funds, he's helping with the construction of the Mishkan. Then he goes up to receive the Luchot, and when he comes down, the people have built this golden calf. It's not a good thing, and Moshe has to give them mussar, and he has to discipline them, and there starts being this tension between Moshe and the people, and Moshe is davening to God to try to save the people, but at the end of all those events, Moshe, the Torah describes, Moshe has to take his tent and move his tent outside of the camp, and there's this this awkward gap that exists between Moshe and the rest of the people. And then Moshe goes up to Har Sinai a second time to pray on behalf of the people, and that time Moshe asks to see God, and Moshe perceives God, he sees God's back, whatever that actually means. And Moshe is coming closer and closer to God, but then he comes down, and the Torah describes Karan or Panav, there's this light emanating from Moshe's face, and the people aren't able to bear to be in Moshe's presence unless Moshe is wearing a masveh, a mask that's covering his face. And it seems to be that the more spiritual Moshe gets and the closer Moshe gets to God, the more of a distance and the more isolated Moshe is from the rest of Bnei Yisrael. And it's a bit of a tragedy that Moshe has to go through this, that he has to pick one or the other. And it seems to be that the more he grows religiously, the further he is from the people, and the more isolated he is. But it's the reality, and it's not just the reality for Moshe. At the end of the day, it's the reality for each of us. Rav Soloveitchik speaks about this in his introduction to The Lonely Man of Faith, where he describes that by definition, religion and spirituality is an existentially isolating experience, because when you develop a unique relationship with God, then no one else is truly able to understand or comprehend the entire nature of that relationship. They may be able to get a glimpse of it, but the entirety of it, that's something only you could understand. You're never going to be able to fully describe to others. So religion is something that is isolating, and it's something that is extremely lonely, and the more we grow in it, the more isolated and the more lonely we're going to be. Now, this sounds horrible right now. This is a horrible pitch to try to get people to grow religiously. But I think it's an important message to hear, because even though community is an extremely important part of religion, specifically Judaism, we have to make sure that we don't think it's the be-all and end-all. And that's the ikr, that's the main part of Judaism. Yes, it's important to be part of a community, to have friends and family with whom you could grow, and you could get better, you could work towards the same higher goals together. But at the end of the day, it can't be that our friends and our family are the second half that completes us. Because we should be able to be complete independently, even without our friends and family. We should be able to be complete people on our own. And essentially that's the lesson that we're supposed to learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. Obviously Moshe is doing this to an extreme. But if we're able to take this midah, this attribute of loneliness that Moshe is teaching us, and apply it to our own lives, and learn that we have to work on ourselves first so we could become individual people who are able to survive without others, and work on our own personal being first. And only then, once we ourselves are developed as fully well-rounded people, then we're able to have friends and family as the cherry on top and enhance our quality of life. Then we're truly having the maximum religious experience, and we're able to maximize our religious growth. And obviously, without the community, then the quality of life is going to be much blander, much duller. But you still want to make sure you, in theory, would be able to exist without that community. And you, in theory, are able to survive just as an individual, even if you're isolated, even if you're lonely. Friends and family are important, but you have to make sure they're not a crutch that's preventing you from growing yourself as a person. And we have to recognize this, because loneliness is not inherently a bad thing. On its own, it could become debilitating, but if you're able to couple it with other qualities and other attributes and other characteristics and values in Judaism, but still recognize its value, because loneliness helps you grow as a person without having to rely on other people, and you really use the positive aspects of it, then that's the best way to ensure you maximize your personal religious growth and your personal connection and relationship and closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Something to think about and work on Everyone have a great Shabbos. Bye bye.